Hello everyone, welcome to Tech Bag. I'm Roopam. I'm currently a business analyst and I hope you are enjoying the videos from last 2 weeks. So basically this is the new video on stakeholders, and in the last video we have already covered the types of requirements and the requirement classification schema. Before that we have looked at 6 key terms. So in this video, we're going to look after types of stakeholders and we'll come across how a business analyst interact with those stakeholders and what are their actually the use case and also the roles and responsibility of a BA when he wants to interact with these kind of stakeholders. So let's get started with the stakeholders and look at each of them and types of them. So let's look at the type of the stakeholders. So there are so many types of stakeholders you would obviously see on the screens, but we would go in a step-by-step manner in order to understand the different type of stakeholders which we have in our particular guide. So let's look at some of the key stakeholders here. The stakeholders are like a business analyst, operation support, the domain subject matter expert, project manager, end user, implementation subject matter experts, suppliers, customers, sponsors. So testers, these are all the kinds of stakeholders which we are involved in day-to-day what you can say activities as a BA. Now let's look into each one of them and understand how they are actually dealing with a BA task. So let's get started with the stakeholders first. So what exactly the stakeholder means? What is a kind of a stakeholder responsibility is? So stakeholder is a person who likely to participate in the execution of the task. That means he is the one who participate in all the execution tasks. So those are also responsible in order to complete and execute the task, but also would help us to give certain kind of information while executing the task. Some of the things that are affected for a stakeholder is whenever a task is being performed, basically those task changes are directly affected by or for the stakeholders. Some of the important things that we can capture from the stakeholder are requirements, assumptions, and constraints. So these are the three main important thing or sources which we can get or which we are trying to fetch from a stakeholders. As a business analyst, you would directly or indirectly interact with stakeholders, individuals or group of stakeholders to gather requirement. So now you are as a BA and you want to extract certain information from a stakeholder. Basically, you would interact with them, you will collaborate and build a relationship in order to get that particular kind of view there. So these are all the major points that a stakeholder would have, and you are basically interacting with the stakeholder for the requirement, assumptions, and constraints. Moving forward, let's look at the next kind of a stakeholder. That's actually the not the next, but it's the most important stakeholder within the process. That's a business analyst. So a business analyst is a one who actually involves or is the one who actually do all the BA activities. So all the business analysis activities are done by BA. Got it? So it might start from requirement gathering, planning till the solution evaluation. So BA is there in all the phase. So he is responsible or he does all the BA activities. Now the responsible and accountable for execution of BA, that is, he is responsible and accountable for execution of all the business analysis activities. Now if there is a planning, BA would execute that. If there is solution evaluation, BA would execute that. So BA is the main key stakeholder within all the stakeholders who actually perform the business analysis activities. Moving to the next slide, we got the next stakeholder, that's a customer. The customer is the one who actually buys a product. He's not the one, or he might not be the one who would actually use the product, but he is the one who actually buys the product. So he has some contractual rights and the moral rights with the enterprises so that the obligations are met by the enterprises. So suppose if we take an example of buying some product from a supermarket is a customer, and the one who actually using it is the end user. So customer is the one who actually buys a product, and customer is also a main stakeholder while doing a BA activity for a business analyst. Moving to the next kind of a stakeholder, that's a domain subject matter expert. So the domain subject matter expert is the one who actually has in-depth knowledge in his domain or area or a topic. So the reason he's known to be a domain subject matter expert or an SME is he has the domain knowledge, and basically that knowledge is used as a business need or for solution evaluation of solution or solution scope. So basically that knowledge is utilized, and what you can say, that knowledge is captured and would obviously would have that particular knowledge when you are looking for a particular business need or solution scope. The kinds of BA, or sorry, the kinds of SMEs are end users, managers, process owners, legal staffs, and consultants. So if you just look at this one, whenever you have a in-depth knowledge of a particular subject, you are an SME. You would have that knowledge in order to help someone who actually looking for a business list or for solution scope. So BA would look for SMEs to define a solution, to understand the process, and also if also he would sit with them and understand the process flow, whether what is the current state of the process and what would be the future state look like. To understand that transition, SMEs would help them to give the current state information because they have the domain knowledge, and that's where the business need and solution scopes cover. As I already told you, end user is the one who actually uses the product. So end user is also a subject matter expert. Got it? Now moving to the next kind of a key stakeholder, that's actually what we are looking is an end user. So end user is a one who actually interacts with that particular product or a solution. So he uses that product for himself to perform tasks for the organization that would satisfy the business need and add the value to the stakeholders. Coming to the end user, another point, who actually use the product, which we have already taught. The one who buys a product is a customer. The one who actually uses is an end user. End user is also a very good advocate in order to verify our product whether it's working fine or not. And these are the one who actually guides us or gives us the things that are actually need to be changed on the product, whether it's working fine or whether a new implementation has to be done. Got it. Moving to the next kind of stakeholder, that's implementation subject matter expert. So the implementation subject matter expert is different from the domain subject matter expert, whether these are specialized in certain knowledge area and have an experience in implementation of one or more solutions. So these stakeholders are actually not the one who actually just have an information, but they have information. They have information how to implement that particular solution. So they are the one who are, would be any guess? That's right, that's a developer. So developer is the one who actually implement the particular solution. So there are developers, there are database admins, there are change managers, there are architects, usability analysts, trainer, consultants, and others. So these are actually the implementation subject matter experts. They are specialized in their own domain. They have a knowledge to make the business knowledge or use the business knowledge and implement the solution. And that's where the specialty of that particular implementation subject matter comes in. So basically, developer is the main implementation subject matter expert who actually builds the product in real time. Moving to the next stakeholder, the next stakeholder is an operations support stakeholder who actually deals with day-to-day management and also maintain and who also do a maintenance of system or a product. So the one who actually deals with day-to-day activities is under operations, who also work with maintenance of system or a product. So these are all comes under operation support. Some of the roles that operation support would satisfy are operation analyst, product analyst, help desk, and release manager are all comes under operation support. Why a business analyst would approach them? Now these are the one who actually comes before the end user, if that is from operations side. Basically, they look at day-to-day management, how the process is working, and if you want to enhance that operations process, basically the one who is like a release manager or the help desk or a product analyst who actually deals with that product is also an end user, but he's working on an operations kind of domain. So that's where the operation support or the product analyst or the operations or analyst would as a role would come out. The next stakeholder which we were looking is the project manager. He's the one who actually very close to BA. So the roles of a project manager is to manage the work that meets the business need. Okay, and the project objectives are met by balancing the project factors. So the project manager look for the work that are meeting the business need, that's one, and also the project objectives are met in balancing the project factors. So some of the project factors you look at here is scope, budget, schedule, resources, quality, and risk. So if a project is aligned towards its business need, it also he or she also checks whether they are balanced within the project scope or not, whether they are project factors or not, such as like scope of the project, the budget of the project, it should not be over budgeted or under budget, the schedule, the resources available to implement that particular project, and the quality and risk we are which we are actually facing and trying to remove it and move the process smoothly. So these are all things are managed by a project manager. Some of the roles of a project manager you see on the screen is a project lead, the technical lead, product manager, and team leader are the key role for a project manager as a stakeholder. The other stakeholder in the picture is a regulator. This is someone who actually deals with legals and standards. So defining and enforcement of standards is done by regulators. Now, what does it mean? Is the standards, now these standards, when these are defined, those are actually imposed on the solution. So a regulator has certain standards, and those standards are need to be imposed on the solution before handing over to the end user. So that's where the regulator part come in. The regulator does it by legislation, governance standards, audit standards, or organization center of competencies. Using these, the standards are imposed on the solution. Some of the roles of our regulators would come as a government, regulatory bodies, and the auditors are actually called as regulators as a stakeholder. Moving to the next kind of stakeholder is a sponsor. So the sponsor is the one who actually initiate the efforts. Now this is very important here. If you look at the initiate efforts, that means he's the one who actually bring in the task to the team so that he defines the business need and would possibly develop the solution that meets the needs. So sponsor is the one who put in all the efforts to make that product ready for the end users. Efforts in the sense bringing the project to the team, making all the decisions with respective that would be coming in the next point I'll show you, but making all the decisions with respective this better show you. So making all the decisions on the budget and the scope of the project is done by the sponsor. So the authority and the control is have all rights of authority and control is there for sponsor. So the sponsor is the one who actually put in a lot of effort to make the project successful. Yes, the part from bringing it into live is done by developer. The part from doing a requirement gathering, collecting all the needs, understanding it, making all the remove road blockers, everything, and managing the task is done by PM. Requirement gathering is done by BA. Development is done by developers. Also, the architects are involved in that. Also, the database analysts are also involved in that. But the overall effort which team put to move that from current state to the future state or the existing into a developed solution, to have a particular guidance and roadmap laid is done by sponsor. And also controlling the budget, what are the resources required, what with the budget of the project is everything being managed by a sponsor. The roles of a sponsor would look like executive, and the project sponsor as states. Moving to the next kind of stakeholder, the supplier. So supplier are the one who actually are not within the organization. They are outside the boundary of a given organization. Now, what does they do? They provide us the product and the services to a particular organization. Now, when they provide a particular product and services to organization, they have a moral right and the contractual right, obligations as per the enterprise. So these things are actually meant for suppliers so that they have a certain contract, they have signed certain what you can say obligations within that particular organization that they will provide these products and services for a limited period of time or for these particular amount, and what are their period of contract, and what is the services they would be getting. So these are all things that a supplier would maintain with the organization. What does BA does here? To have all the things being checked, find out the best supplier, find out the best who is giving the product and the services with the within the budget which we are looking, and also the quality and the kind of support and all the things which we are getting from supplier is the most important thing. Some of the suppliers would mention in a way as like a providers, the vendors and the consultants comes under suppliers stakeholders. The next one which we are looking is the last category of the stakeholder, that's a tester or test engineers or the QA we can say. So the main role is to verify the solutions, to validate all the solutions. Solutions in a sense, the products. They use the solutions as an end user and try to identify and try to identify all the checkpoints which we have, which end user is needed, all the business needs, what are there, and what are the things that are to be actually functioning are being verified by a tester. They do a they conduct a verification process to move that particular product from the stage to the production or the live environment, and they are the one who actually gives the guidance or the assurance that yeah, this is the one we can go live with. Coming to the things that they look into, is the solution meet the quality standards or not, and they look at risk of defects, and they try to minimize the risk of defects or the failures basically when they verify any product. So some of the roles you would look is a quality assurance analyst. I have not mentioned, but QA is the one, quality analyst. And then you got test engineers, all the testing teams. It might be manual or automation, front or back, anything. But these are all comes under test as a stakeholder. So we have covered all different type of stakeholders, and a BA would interact with all the stakeholders for certain reasons, certain stage at the process, not and it follows in a hierarchy. Whenever the project starts, as a planning, as a sponsor will be coming in the first picture, the stakeholders will be coming in the first picture, then coming into the next where developer, that is the implement is a subject matter expert, and then the domain subject matter expert to understand the requirement, the end user, the supplier to get in the feed form, and once you implement the solution, probably the tester. So I've not covered everything, but yeah, these are all the stakeholders which are mentioned as per the BAPOC, and I've used that as a source to explain you guys. Now that's all for this video. I would like you to please subscribe the channel, share it with your colleagues or friends, and do follow me on the LinkedIn. I have provided my LinkedIn link in the description. So thanks for watching, and I appreciate your efforts if you watch all my previous videos and like them. And I definitely want to make this continuity in the video for rest of the chapters and bringing all the content alive and explain you in a broader way. So thanks for watching, stay connected, and please do subscribe and do not forget to like this video. Thank you so much.